Very good morning, students. Today we will start our class with a small prayer and listen, and afterwards we'll start the class. Okay, we are moving to next part, that is significance of the non-cooperation movement. First point, it is non-cooperation movement was a large scale mass movement. Means all the parts of the country, it was joined in one way or in another way. We have seen the plantation workers how they joined, the village area how what is their understanding, like that we have seen. So it was become a large scale mass movement. It attracted common people from all social groups, all the social groups people, if it is workers, daily wage workers, or the slaves, or from zamindars, or from industrialists, all of them got interest in the non-cooperation movement. Then non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement went together, so they promoted Hindu-Muslim unity. Gandhiji tried to keep the unity of Hindu-Muslim. Khilafat movement meant for getting the power back to Turkey emperor from British. So this taken together, non-cooperation movement as well as Khilafat movement went together. So they tried, all the nationalist leaders, especially Gandhiji, tried to promote the Hindu-Muslim unity. That is the second point. Third point, peasants and tribals movement became a part of Indian national movement. Every part of the India, peasants as well as tribals, they was fighting with British people and all. And they when they fight, it was a partially here and there. But when they joined with the non-cooperation movement, or with the non-cooperation movement, arrival of non-cooperation movement made that joint peasants and tribals came together, and they become the part of the national movement. Means large scale movement in that area also. It was a non-violent movement, so it popularized the Gandhian idea of non-violent satyagraha. So non-cooperation movement was a non-violent movement. So by that Gandhiji became successful to spread his idea of non-violent satyagraha. If question come like that, what is the significance? So you can write. First, non-cooperation movement become a large scale mass movement. All the common people or from all social group people got attraction towards that. Then non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement went together. That's why we can see Hindu-Muslim unity, how it is improved. Then peasants and tribals movement was there. That also become a part of Indian national movement with the help of non-cooperation movement. And it was a non-violent movement, and by that this non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji became successful to spread his idea, Gandhian idea of non-violent satyagraha. Then we are moving to next point, that is Simon Commission. Indian Statutory Commission. Commission name really it is Indian Statutory Commission, and head of that one was Sir John Simon. That's why we are calling it Simon Commission. It was a statutory commission set up by the British under commission set up by British under Sir John Simon. So under that was the chairman name of that commission, John Simon, and it is a statutory, going to think about how Indian constitutional system, like that things. It was asked to study the constitutional system in India and suggested changes. And what was his duty? To study about the constitutional idea of the India, or the what system we are setting up, that they want to study, and they want to give a suggest some changes. They want to give report to Britain also. Indians opposed the Simon Commission because all the members of the commission was Englishmen. There was no Indian in it. So when Simon Commission came here, all the Indians, including Gandhiji, all the nationalist leaders, all common people, they opposed that commission. Why? There was no single member, Indian member in that commission. Only English people was there. It did not provide any hope of Swaraj to Indians. So they felt like that there is no Indians to support Indian needs. That's why it is not going to help the Indians or Swaraj, that they thought. Next one, Lahore Congress session of 1929, and present it is in Pakistan, and that is one of the important session took place. The Congress session was held at Lahore in 1929 under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. Who was the president of the meeting? Jawaharlal Nehru. In which year? 1929. Where? It is in Lahore. And following decisions were taken. Important one. What was the decision taken in the Lahore session? Lahore is one of the map place where what we want to study. At the same time, very important question. May ask in different way. It may ask in board exam. The decisions. First decision, the Congress declared Purna Swaraj as its aim. So Indian National Congress, they taken a declaration. They made a declaration. What is the aim of the Indian National Congress? That is Purna Swaraj, means full independence. We want to get full independence from British, like that they declared. And it was decided to celebrate 26th January every year as Independence Day. And meeting held in 1930 onwards, every January 26th we will celebrate as Independence Day. Before getting in independence, they decide the Independence Day also. They thought like that. By that time they can make it like that. It was decided to start civil disobedience movement to win the Purna Swaraj. If we want to get full independence, what we can do? We should disobey the rules and regulations given by the British. So what are the major decision taken by Indian National Congress? First one, the Congress declared Purna Swaraj as its aim, and it was decided to celebrate 26th January every year as Independence Day. Then it was decided to start the civil disobedience movement to win Purna Swaraj. Okay, Janardhanan, please read loudly the 3 points. What decision taken in Lahore session? Read loudly. Okay, the Congress declared Purna Swaraj as its aim, and it was decided to celebrate 26th January every year as Independence Day. Then it was decided to start the civil disobedience movement to win Purna Swaraj. Okay, thank you. Then we are moving to next one. Developments that led to the launching of the civil disobedience movement. How they taken decision to start civil disobedience movement. How that development of thinking about the civil disobedience movement, and how it reached to that. So Indians launched a powerful struggle against the Simon Commission. The government resorted to repression. The government was taking the step of repression, suppressing the people's movement. And even when we started to protest against Simon Commission also, they taken the same thing. And in Simon Commission, when they came here in India, what slogan we said to them? Go back Simon. Means Simon, go back. Should not enter to India, like that we was doing welcoming to him. And Great Depression made the life of the people highly miserable. 1930s, after First World War and before Second World War, Britain was facing a miserable Great Depression, especially in 1929 and 30. Britain was facing a miserable financial depression that affected Indians very, very miserably. Lahore conspiracy case and Meerut conspiracy case created discontent among Indians. So when we conducted the meetings in Lahore, and at the same time in Meerut, afterwards in Meerut, that time British people taken the policy of suppressing all the movement of the Indians. So it given a discontent, dissatisfaction among Indians. Lahore's Congress of 1929 declared Purna Swaraj as its aim and decided to launch civil disobedience movement, that we have seen when we discuss about Lahore session. Then Gandhiji inaugurated the movement by breaking the salt law at Dandi. Another one important map question. Where is Dandi, or breaking of salt law, or starting of inauguration of civil disobedience movement, like that different way it used to ask. So Gandhiji inaugurated the movement by breaking the salt law at Dandi. Then next point, it is Salt March. Gandhiji decided to inaugurate the civil disobedience movement by breaking the salt law that we have seen already. Why Gandhiji taken salt? That is the common thing. It is needed for the, or we can't avoid that one. Even we are poor or rich or middle class or educated, illiterate, healthy or sick, we need salt in our daily life. So we can't avoid that one. Gandhiji and 78 of his followers started a march on foot from Sabarmati Ashramam to Dandi. That we are calling it Dandi March. The movement, the travel from Sabarmati Ashramam to Dandi, it is known as Dandi March. On 6th April 1919, they reached Dandi. Gandhiji prepared salt by using sea water and broke the salt law and inaugurated the movement. In which day? 6th April 1919. The movement imposed heavy tax on salt. The government imposed a heavy tax on salt. Moreover, the production of the salt was monopoly of the government. So the price of the salt was very high. Therefore, Gandhiji opposed the salt law. Then second reason why Gandhiji taken salt, government imposed tax on everything, even on salt, and they said only British government can make salt, nobody else should not make like that, they said. That's why how Gandhiji and his followers felt like that, that is because of that one, government only producing and tax also they imposed, that's why salt price it went up. So the price of the salt was very high, that's why Gandhiji opposed the salt law and he himself went and made salt. Next point, the main features of the civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji broke the salt law at Dandi and inaugurated the movement. People broke salt law in many places, not only in Dandi, not in Gujarat, many other places also. People started to broke the same salt law. Foreign goods were boycotted, like a non-cooperation movement. We started to boycott the foreign goods. Liquor shops were picketed and government servants resigned their job, and forest laws were broken. People refused to pay taxes. Leaders were arrested. Workers attacked government officers. So everything you want to write one by one point. What is the main features of the civil disobedience movement? How people participated in the civil disobedience movement. So one by one point once again. First, Gandhiji and his followers break the law of salt law in Dandi. Then afterwards many other parts of India people done the same thing. Second one, foreign goods boycotted. Third one, liquor shops picketed. Fourth one, government servants resigned their jobs. Fifth one, forest law were broken. That forest law we studied in 8th standard. And tribal peoples, those who was using the forest for their sake, that they are not able to use like that. They made the laws. Then people refused to pay taxes. That also under the one of the civil law given by British people. Then leaders were arrested. Workers attacked government officers. The main feature of the civil disobedience movement. Okay, what happened though in the time of civil disobedience movement and afterwards, that we are going to see. Gandhiji called off the movement on 5th March 1931 under Gandhi-Irwin Pact. That time Viceroy, that is Irwin, and Gandhiji and Irwin sat together and they decided something, and that pact is known, agreement is known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact. In which year? 1931 of March 5th. Then what is the main thing agreed or taken the decision? First one, he agreed to attend the second round of table conference. Who? Gandhiji agreed because of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. And it was restarted when Gandhiji returned from London. Again, the civil disobedience movement that stopped in 1931, and it is again restarted in 1932 after Gandhiji's return from London after the second round table conference, and it was finally called off in 1934 and it stopped by Gandhiji in 1934. So 3 years continuously he was in the participated in the civil disobedience movement. The difference between non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement, this also used to ask us a 3-mark question, 5 Question. People refused to cooperate with the government during the non-cooperation movement. People broke the laws during the civil disobedience movement. In the time of non-cooperation movement, people refused to cooperate with the government, and in civil disobedience movement they started to disobey the laws. Muslims participated in a large number in non-cooperation movement. Muslim participation was very less in civil disobedience movement, and no tax campaign was not there in the non-cooperation movement. People refused to pay tax in the civil disobedience movement. Means in civil disobedience movement, tax paying is one of the law given by British government that people started to disobey or campaigns conducted. So major three differences. First one, the cooperation of the people refused, and laws started to break it, and Muslim participation was very high in non-cooperation movement, and in civil disobedience movement it was very less. Then tax campaign, there was no tax campaign in non-cooperation movement, and civil disobedience movement there was tax campaign and people refused to pay tax also. Then social groups which participated in the civil disobedience movement. Rich peasants, they participated in the civil disobedience movement. Depression and fall of the price affected them badly. Who? Rich peasants. They demanded reduction in revenue. Swaraj meant reduction of tax for them. For rich peasants, Swaraj means what it is? Reduction of taxes. To whom? Rich peasants. Then poor peasants. Depression affected them badly. They demanded reduction of rent. So one group they are asking for land revenue reduction. Second group they was paying tax just, and poor peasants they have taken the land as a rental property, and they want to pay rent to the government or to the money lender or somebody. So they are asking for reduction in rent. Swaraj meant reduction of rent for them. So what is the difference between the rich peasants and they are asking for reduction of tax, and poor peasants they are asking for reduction of rent? Next one, business class, they thought they demanded protection against the import of the foreign goods. They wanted a rupee sterling exchange rate that would discourage import. So the if the rupees and sterling, that is the money what the England was using, that if they are giving the value, the exchange time, if the rate is very less with Indian rupees and all, we won't get enough things. So that exchange rate should not discourage the import. In that way they want to fix the rate, like that. Who said? Business class people. They found the Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress in 1920, and they started the industrialists of India. They are forming Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress. In which year? 1920. They also formed the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries. So the British Chamber of Commerce and Industries, seeing that one, afterwards Indians also started that one, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries. Okay, you can think about in your area like that, any association is there to protect the trade and commerce like that. The next one, they gave financial help to the movement and refused to sell the foreign goods. The business people, they was helping the movement in financially. They are able to give money, so they are ready to give money, and at the same time they was to sell foreign goods. The next one, industrial workers. So here business people, the owners of the industry. Then industrial workers, they were poorly paid. They was getting very less wage, and working condition was very worst. Condition of the work were miserable. Swaraj meant better wage and working condition for them. Railway workers and dockyard workers conducted strike. Workers in the mine wore Gandhi cap and took part in the rallies. So the workers, the owners, we have seen they asked for rupee and sterling exchange rate would be very good, and they started Indian Industrial and Commerce Congress. At the same time, they was ready to help the national movement by financially. At the same time, they refused to sell the foreign goods. but the workers, they are asking for better living condition. They are asking for better wage and all, and it is not directly only to British, and even they are asking to the Indian management companies also. Then main contribution of the civil disobedient movement. First one, civil disobedience movement was the first struggle to win Purna Swaraj or complete freedom. So in non-cooperation movement, we all the people, they came first time together, or large scale mass entry of the people we can see. But in civil disobedient movement, this is the first movement taken by Indians for what? Full independence or complete independence or Purna Swaraj. It was based on non-violent satyagraha. Gandhian idea were widely followed. So this non-cooperation movement also was a non-violent satyagraha, and Gandhian idea it followed, and it was getting more acceptance among Indians. Women participated in large number in this movement. In up to civil non-cooperation movement, ladies participation was very less, but in civil disobedient movement, ladies also started to participate, and it was a real mass movement. Different social groups participated. We have seen owners of the business and workers of the business with two different intention they participated in the movement. Then it was an open challenge to the British rule, and the people openly disobeyed the law. So the British felt like that it is an open challenge to them, because they are openly started to disobey the rules and regulations. The next point, main limitation of the civil disobedient movement. Dalits did not participate in the civil disobedient movement because Congress did not give importance to the demand. Whenever they asked something, Indian National Congress, they become failure to support their or to give their demand or to accept their demand. That's why Muslims not participated. This is the first limitation of civil disobedient movement. Second one, many Muslims did not participate in it. They thought that Congress was moving close to Hindu Mahasabha. So the Muslims felt like that Congress only or National Congress, it is moving with Hindu Mahasabha, not supporting Muslim community like that. Communal riots occurred in many places. Disunity between Hindu and Muslim started. So when Muslims felt like that Congress is National Congress, it is supporting only Hindus, then the riots between the fight between Hindus and Muslims started, and that disunity started not only in one part, very many parts of India. Then industrial workers participation was minimum. The workers, they asked to get the better wage and all, but the Congress supported the business people or the owners of the companies, factories. Why? They was giving the financial support to National Congress or for the movement. So they neglected little bit to the workers. So workers participation become very less. Then, before efforts made by Gandhiji for the upliftment of Dalits. Okay, that is the another one point that we will discuss later. That in today we are discussing this much only, and we discuss which points. Once again, we will go back and we will come starting with Simon Commission. Okay, significance of non-cooperation movement we discussed. Non-cooperation movement was a large-scale mass movement, and it attracted common people from all the social groups. Non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement went together, so they promoted Hindu-Muslim unity. Peasants and tribal movements became a part of the Indian National Congress, and it was a non-violent movement, so it popularized the Gandhian idea of non-violent satyagraha. Then about Simon Commission or Indian Statutory Commission. It was a statutory commission set up by British under Sir John Simon, and it was asked to study constitutional system in India and suggested changes. Indians opposed the Simon Commission because all the members of the commission were Englishmen and there was no Indians in it. It did not provide any hope of the Swaraj to Indians. Lahore Congress of 1929 The Congress session was held at Lahore in 1929 under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. Following decisions were taken. The Congress declared Purna Swaraj as its aim, and it was decided to celebrate 26th January every year as Independence Day. It was decided to start civil disobedience movement to win Purna Swaraj. The developments that led to the launching of the civil disobedience movement. First one, Indians launched a powerful struggle against Simon Commission. The government resorted to repression. Great Depression made a life of the people highly miserable. Lahore conspiracy case and conspiracy case created discontent among Indians. Lahore Congress of 1929 declared Purna Swaraj as its aim and decided to launch the civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji inaugurated the movement by breaking the Salt Law at Dandi. Then Salt March. Gandhiji decided to inaugurate the civil disobedience movement by breaking the Salt Law. Gandhiji and 78 of his followers started march on foot from Samarpadi Ashramam to Dandi. That we are calling it Dandi March. On 6th April 1919, they reached Dandi and Gandhiji prepared salt by using sea water and broke the Salt Law, inaugurated the movement. And Gandhiji, April 6th, 1929, the Gandhiji imposed heavy tax on salt. The government imposed a heavy tax on salt. Moreover, the production of the salt was the monopoly of the government. So the price of the salt was very high. Therefore, Gandhiji opposed the Salt Law. Then the main features of the civil disobedience movement. Gandhiji broke the Salt Law at Dandi and inaugurated the movement. People broke Salt Law in many places. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops were picketed, government servants resigned their jobs, forest laws were broken, and people refused to pay taxes. Leaders were arrested, workers attacked government offices. Then Gandhiji called off the movement on 5th March 1931 under the Gandhi-Irvine Pact. He agreed to attend the second roundtable conference, and it was restarted when Gandhiji returned from London, because what they agreed they not given to Gandhiji there. It was finally called off 1934. Difference between non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. People refused to cooperate with the government during the non-cooperation movement. People broke the law during the civil disobedience movement. Muslims participated in large number in non-cooperation movement. Muslim participation was very less in civil disobedience movement. No tax campaign was not there in non-cooperation movement. People refused to pay taxes in civil disobedience movement. And social groups which participated in the civil disobedience movement: rich peasants, poor peasants, business people and industrial workers, they participated. Major contribution of the civil disobedience movement. Civil disobedience movement was the first struggle to win the Purna Swaraj or complete independence, and it was based on the non-violent satyagraha. Gandhian idea were widely followed, and when women participated in numbers in the movement, and it was a real mass movement. Different social groups participated. It was open challenge to the British rule. The people openly disobeyed the laws. Then main limitation of the civil disobedience movement. Dalit not participated in the civil disobedience movement because the Congress did not give importance to Dalits, and many Muslims did not participated in it. They thought that the Congress was moving close to the Hindu Mahasabha. Communal riots occurred in many places. Disunity between Hindu and Muslim started. Then industrial workers participation also was very minimum. Okay, next point we will discuss next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.